Right. I think generally I'll always make a copy of what I'm working on rather than using the file. So you want to go Command J or Control J to make a copy. Yeah, so if anything that I'm using, I always create a copy to work on, so we're not actually destroying what we're working on. Everybody works differently, so you know, I know you're going, why is she doing that? Like, I do it like this, but whatever, just don't work on your original file. So if you go into Filter and Liquify, it should come up with this. Can you all see that okay?
No, but it's just repeat that last move, Sally, please.
Cancel that. So if you go into Filter at the top.
Gotcha, yeah, gotcha.
And then if you scroll down, you'll find Liquify in there. Everybody should have it in Photoshop. I've got an old version of Photoshop because my iMac is ancient apparently. So I can't get the new singing dancing Photoshop like everybody else has got. So yeah, if you click Liquify, then it will bring it up with this, which is a piece of software which enables you to kind of move things around. Yeah. So over this side, you've got eyes, eye height, eye width, eye tilt, eye distance, nose. You've got all the lips, forehead, jawline. I tend to, like with a lot of my work, you don't have to do this. It's your kind of style. I always kind of make the eyes a little bit wider, generally, because for me, it's all about the eyes. Noses I tend to pull in. I don't do this with client shoots. I only do it with my own personal work. So this isn't something that I'd be doing with somebody that come in, unless I thought like they would not notice it.
Sally, do you not have to select what you're working on? It will just find what the slider relates to.
Yeah, if you go over to the site, it's awesome. If you haven't used it, you need to try it.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah, it's great. And I think, like, I mean, I do teach this on my days when people come to workshops and stuff, but it is, if you use it subtly, it is a really good tool to have.
Wow.
But you know, it's just don't go mad with it, because you can, like, if I show you here, like you can make it look absolutely awful, like doll-like thing, which I think like some people do this kind of thing for.
Stop being silly, Lola. Do you want to go out?
But yeah, it's
what are you suggesting? Maybe 5%, 10%?
I tend to hang on, let's go back to normal here. I tend to only use the eye width just to like get a little bit of let's take this down again. Just get a little bit of contact with the eyes. So like literally I'll just go sort of 20 up 20.
20.
Just to pull in on the eyes a little bit more, to make the eyes look a bit more dreamy and contact. For me, it's all about the eyes. So I do work a lot on the eyes, and I like that draw. Nose width, I generally like, I will reduce noses slightly, again, only 15 to 20, just so it's subtle. And then you've also got down here, you've got like chin, you can move the chin. If you want like a little dolly face, you can take the chin up. Or if you've got somebody with a really small face, you can bring the chin down a little bit. But what's handy is the jawline works really well. If you've got somebody with quite a round face and a long face, you can just like lift it a little bit. But they work really well. Face width as well. So yeah, if you haven't sort of had a play with, oh sorry, it's Michelle Chance. Sorry, Sally. don't know, can't read that. Yeah, but they're kind of they're handy if you haven't had a play around with them. You should have a play with them. They're just be careful, like that you're not warping the eyes too much. Always keep an eye on like the pupils, whether just make sure you're not distorting the pupils at all. So see that?
Yes.
Oh wow.
So it's very
Oh,
subtle.
Christ.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very subtle, but you can see it does make a difference. Yeah. So
Yep.
I mean, if this was something like what Gavin had took, Gavin would probably crop it here. Am I right, Gavin? Gavin Woodgate.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. So you'd kind of crop it in here,
Yeah,
wouldn't you?
yeah, absolutely. That's what I'd be doing.
It would be about the
Yeah.
face, and a bit of that would be Gavin's work. That's what he would work on because that's like what he likes. So, yeah. So everybody, yeah. Somebody else is saying something.
So I take it then, Sally, that you could turn the ends of her mouth up a slightly, so it changes to a bit of a smile.
You can do a smile there if you want to, or you can bring it down. You can also.
Can you just do it? Can you just do it so I can see?
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
So obviously it's the smile is a bit fake, so you don't want to be using that. But what works really well as well is the mouth width. So you can get that real dolly look. If I come in a bit closer again so you can see. So so if we go with the mouth width, you can get like a real dolly look, which is kind of nice. And again, this is only for your own work and for competitions and stuff, yeah? So we don't do this for clients, but if you want to create something really artistic, it's kind of nice to have a play, but just make sure you're not being too over the top with it, yeah?
It's incredible.
So there you go. That's a little bit of work on the face, okay? Now you've got these over this side as well. Can you see that? You've got forward warp tool. Is that in actually?
They're off screen on my. Oh, there you go.
I
Yeah.
just brought it over. You can see it now. Yeah. So forward warp tool, basically, it will move things. Yeah. Can you
What
see?
did you call that tool again?
It's a forward warp tool. So if you click on it, if you just hover over it, it will tell you what it is. Okay.
And did you just put your mouse or your pen over the item?
Yeah. Just to hover it, just to show you what it was. Yeah.
And then how do you move the tool at the same time? How do you move the slider?
You don't use the slider. This is just like a brush. You see it here?
Okay.
So the forward warp tool will be on like a circle, and you can make
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
bigger and smaller. Yeah, you can see that ground. That is ground, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I recognise your voice.
Yeah.
We're not that we've worked together a lot. Okay.
So how do you change the size of the brush?
Oh,
with your brackets, yeah,
With my what, sorry?
brackets on your key. So your
Square brackets.
yeah, your square brackets. So on your keyboard, you've got square brackets.
Have I? Oh.
Next to the letter P.
Next to P,
Gotcha. Yep, with you.
2 square brackets. So
Yeah.
the one next to P makes it smaller, and the one opposite, sort of that one, the right hand side one, makes it bigger.
Thank you. Answers are always easy when you know the answer.
Yeah, well, if you want to take notes on that, just so you know, pop it down and write it down. So for those that don't know that. I think with the forward warp tool, it's always best to use a big brush, depending on what you're doing. If I'm working with hair, you don't want to do it small, because if you use a small brush, it really does affect the hair and looks a bit weird. So you want to try and keep the brush as big as possible. Yeah. So, especially if you don't want to affect the crown too much. So this is, I mean, we'll just do a little bit at a time, because if I do a full edit, you're all going to get, like, for those that don't know how to do this, it would be nice to actually have this image at home and just to be able to practice what we've run through. And here I'd kind of try and get rid of this, coarse it a little bit more and just give it a little bit more shape. Thing is, these girls are so young as well. They don't have a lot of shape. So you kind of like, for your own work, you kind of have to give them a little bit of help. Yeah, for sort of anything like this, you can do like straightening out necklines. And this tool should, you know, it should come really, I mean, I know Mike and Andy probably use this a lot for wedding dresses. Is that right, Andy, if you're there?
Yep, nearly every wedding.
Yeah, so I mean, those weddings, the wedding with the brides where they're, you know, unfortunately they might have a little bit of midriff and a little bit of a roll here and there, and you can just tuck it in.
It's more commonly than not, it's the underarm. So just if they're holding hands, walking, just tidy up that for them. They appreciate it.
Yeah, that's it. So you know, like as you see and hear, all the professionals use this tool. It's very handy to have, but you need to know how to use it. And it's a bit like we were saying about the histogram. You know, we've all got stuff to learn, and the only way you can learn these things is by just having a go. You know. So I tend to only use a couple of these brushes at the side. So you've got like a pucker tool, which is, so you've got your forward walk tool at the top. Let me move it over a bit more. Forward walk tool at the top here. And then I tend to use the pucker tool and the bloat tool. And that's generally all I use. And that's all you need to know to start you off. You can go here, press here, and you can move all the face parts around that we did over here, but it's a lot easier to just use these sliders over this rather than pulling all these around, because if you use the sliders, you know exactly that, you know, the right eye we've made a little bit bigger. If you start pulling them all around by sort of freestyling, then it could just get a bit weird looking. So you know, tend to sort of stay off of that and just use the sliders. It's a bit more accurate looking. So yeah, so the pucker tool sucks in and the bloat tool bloats out. Okay, so I'll show you what I mean. So the bloat tool bloats out, yeah, and the pucker tool sucks in. So you can see that. They all have their have their uses. You know, if you've got like a big arm, that you've got like you've done a portrait of a client and she's got this massive great big arm, but you like the image, sometimes I will use the pucker tool to just sort of nip her arm in a little bit, just to slim it down, but not too much. Just keep it all natural. Just don't go too mad with it.
I think that's the key with it, in it, Sal. It's all about the subtleties. You know, you won't necessarily see it all in that screen. It's only when you go back and you see the change. And it's just the little small changes, isn't it? Not the massive changes that you would come in there to use this tool for.
That's right. I mean, I'm like, I'm the queen of hair. Like all my styling and all my, all my days generally they have massive hair. So if you haven't been on any of the workshops and you come on them like next year, you'll see that a lot of the styled days they've either got big headdresses or massive great big wigs or big hair. I mean, Amber's got loads of hair. This was her hair we styled on the day. It took a long time, but it was very one-sided, and it wasn't, although it was big in real life when I photographed it, it wasn't as big as what I would have wanted it. So Liquify enables me to actually get the hair where I want it in my mind, more to you know, what it actually is in reality. Any questions on that?
Are we still in Liquify,
We're still in Liquify, yes.
even using the pucker tool and that?
Yes, yes, this is
Yeah,
all in
that's
Liquify.
right.
So we've got our
Right.
sliders at the side for our face, and we've got the forward warp tool, pucker tool and blow tool that we use for either, like, if we want to just blow the hair a little bit more.
I was just typing a question, Sally. Does this work with other subject matter as well?
Oh yes, yeah, it works on everything.
So does the column on the right hand side where the sliders were, do they change with the a different subject matter? If you put a landscape up or a...
No, they won't work with that because it's obviously that's just for faces. But yeah, I use Liquify with backgrounds and stuff just to sort of move things and stretch things around. I mean, as long as you're not doing it too much where it looks like it's ridiculously, which I'll show you in a minute. What we'll do is we'll play around with this fabric in a minute and we'll change it. And then
So what I'm trying to say, Sally, is if I put a picture of an aircraft up for whatever reason, rather than the model I'm looking at, would I be still looking at the same screen as I am now with the same sliders on the right?
oh yes, that's
Okay,
yes.
thank you. Yeah, that answers my question. Thank you.
I didn't get that. So we take the preview off, so you can see like what we've done there. So we've just kind of stretched her up a little bit, lifted her. What I've basically done is lifted her. Yeah. So we've lifted the hair, give you a bit more, you know, direct looking at her face. I think I'd probably want to push that hair in a little bit there. But I mean, this is all personal taste. And those, obviously, just be careful what you're pulling around because you can start affecting things like this crown. But they're kind of cool. You can, you know, if something isn't straight, you can always just move it around. I think with Photoshop, you have to really you have to think that there's no limits to anything, that you can do anything. And that's what I love, is that you just got to have a really open mind, and you've just got to think, I can do anything. All the tools are there. I've just got to know how to use them. Yeah.
Sally, did you try the bloat tool on that crease on the right-hand side of her chest or her left side?
Yeah, I did try that when I did bloat it a little bit there, and I think that what you need to do is just keep working on it, but obviously try not to. I mean, that's better, isn't it? It's not as bad as what it was, but I struggled getting this out.
I think it probably needs a bit of dodging, doesn't it, to lighten it up to the same tones as the surrounding area.
There's lots of things you can do to change it, and we can also obviously, which I'll show you when we come to cloning, which I don't know if we'll have time today, but the cloning, I do lots of different things when I clone. So I do clone, but I do a lot of lifting bits of images and pasting them across and blend modes, and so there's lots of things that we can do to try and do this, which, you know, you'll all get a chance of having a go and trying to correct it better than what I have.
The content aware tool is pretty amazing.
Yeah, yeah. I think if you plug away at something enough, you'll find something that works. But I thought for this image, there's not a lot to it, but there still is a few things to work on for us as a group, like with the hair and the problem here, the dark bra. You know, there's and expanding this fabric using liquify. And then we'll go into dodge and burn. We'll go through sort of every process, but there's, you know, although it's quite a small image, there's not much going on. There's still a lot to correct in it, which I think would be good for us all to go through. So, are you all kind of happy with what we've done there? Do you get the face and you get the pucker tool and the forward walk tool? You understand? If somebody doesn't understand and they need me to go through it, now's your chance, because we're not filming it. So if you need me to go through anything before we come out of this,
Mike is recording it. It's
No,
got
not-
recording on the top left-hand corner.
Mike's recording, that's right. Yeah, you're right. Sorry. Yeah. Anyone?
No, I'm absolutely amazed.
Oh my.
That whole new world.
I'm
Hearing
gobsmacked.
awesome. Yeah.
I'm gobsmacked. You can pull such a cracking image apart.
I pull everything apart. I'm so fussy.
I don't go looking at my stuff. He says tongue in cheek.
You know, like, this is what I train on my workshops. Like, when we do fine art workshops, we do the editing at the end and we run through all of this. But it's a lot of people that have been, there are people here that have been on my workshops, that it's a lot to take in on a day, and to actually to be able to run over it again is kind of good, I think. So anyway,
I would never ever have even considered any of the things that you've pulled up tonight on that image. I don't know if anybody else feels the same at all, but that to me is just one hell of a stunning image that I'd be proud as punch to just call my own. And why the problem I have with it is, why muck and mess about with such a cracking image?
because when you look at it before and now we look at it now, it looks better.
I will disagree with you on that, but hey ho.
Well,
Yeah, it looks miles better.
Yeah, that's why I'm me, and that's why you're you, Ian.
Exactly. Totally and utterly agree.
We're all different, and you know, you don't have to do anything that I do, but,
No, but
you know,
I'm amazed at the way those tools work, and my God,
you,
that's great. That's fantastic the way they work.
For like your work, then it's worth doing, isn't it? So if we hit OK with that, what I'm going to do is we'll expand the vowel here, which I'll show you how to do, and then we'll go back into liquify and we'll pull it around and we'll call that a night. And then what I'll do is I'll put this image in a Dropbox for you to all download, or I can transfer it. For those that want it, message me directly and send me your email and I'll transfer it to you. Is probably the best thing to do, so you can start having a play with it, and we'll do it step by step. So we'll just do liquify today, and then and the expansion of this, and then we'll do cloning next, which will take a good hour to go through that, because there's quite a lot of cloning to do on this one. So if we hit OK, so let's just have a look at the before. Here we go. There's the before and there's the after. So if we hit OK, and that will save it onto that image there. So let's have a look. There we go.
I think one important thing is to know that these tools exist and know that it's possible. If you know you can do this, you will find the tool eventually.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, totally agree.
So let's go to the lasso tool. Everybody has used the lasso tool before.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna just go over here. Let's see that. Then I'm going to hit Command J. And then let's do warp. Okay. So if you're on Windows, it will be Control J, which will put that selection onto a different layer, yeah? So we all know how to do that, don't we?
Yeah.
For those that don't, there you go. So if you're on a Mac like me, it's Command J. So you've basically used your lasso tool, you've copied a piece of fabric that you want to expand, yeah? And then you've put it onto a different layer by hitting Command J or Control J. So there it goes there. And then there are shortcuts to everything, which everybody will know. They're all different for Windows, and we've had this on workshops. We've been on workshops and we've had to fathom out. I think Cheryl was with us once, and it took us ages to work out what it was on her laptop when she was over at mine. But yeah, but if you can come up to edit and then go on to warp, it will give you the chance to actually start pulling the fabric around and changing it to where you want it. Yeah.
Clever.
So for me, it's all about fabric. I like fabric. But just remember, with anything you do, look, see the creases there? Just remember, with whatever you do, just try and keep your eye on things that, like, there's a crease there. Just expand it to, like, just sort of where you can, without sort of messing around too much with the creases and stuff here. I know Andy said he didn't like the creases, but they're good to kind of just see, look, there, you want to make sure that they're matched up. Yeah? You can see that? So if I go to, oh, hang on. Can't find it, there we go. Okay. There we are. And then if we put a mask on that, so white brush puts in, black brush takes away. We should be able to get rid of that stretch on that canvas that we've got there. So let's have a look. See the difference? Yeah?
Yeah, yeah.
And this is a great thing to be able to do, especially for, like, if you're doing weddings or you're doing maternity shoots. Oh God, the amount of maternity shoots I've done with big dresses that we've thrown up in the air, and then we've actually used this to be able to expand the dresses. And I've had, like, ladies on horses with like a dress that sort of only comes down so far, and I've expanded the dress all the way to the floor, and it looks fantastic. So it's something to really practice if you haven't done it before. But do you all understand that?
Yeah.
And most of you have done that before anyway, haven't you? I would have thought. So let's do the other side. So again, lasso tool. Yep. Command J, and then go to warp on your edit and transform. So we've gone edit, transform, and then warp. Yeah. And then you can start. I like fabric to be big. But generally, if I was going to sort of pull some stuff around, make sure you're not losing your little folds. Okay, let's have a look at that. Okay. So that's kind of a good start for the fabric. Doesn't look too terrible. There's a few little bits down here, maybe. But I mean, looking at that, would you think that that wasn't already there, or would you look at it and think, oh, that's been actually messed about with? Lisa, Roscoe.
If you didn't know,
yeah, you wouldn't tell. You wouldn't tell.
No, okay. So that's kind of like that's how I'd start my fabric. So I'd lasso it and expand it in warp generally. Just Command JT to transform it. There must be a shortcut for warp, but I don't know what it is. So I just go Command J, then go to warp. And then I make it sort of whereabouts I want it, and then I'll take it back into a liquefy from there. So again, like with this, we could make this a bit bigger if we wanted to. So let's go and just see if we can pull that up a little bit, because for me it's sort of laying down.
Droopy.
I'm not quite sure about it. Drooping, that's it. That's what it's doing. Drooping, yes. So let's go to warp and see what we can do with it. Oh, it's not done it. Hang on, let's try again. There we go. So yeah, it's a bit droopy. Not as easy as that, but we can, yeah. So we might have to pull that around a little bit more in.
Why isn't it affecting the crown as well? Because the crown is in the selection.
I haven't selected the crown.
Okay.
I've gone sort of this, you can see like I can pull it over the crown, but I've not selected the crown.
Okay.
That's why it's not affecting it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I might have to pull that up in liquefy. But let's have a look. Sorry, got all the zoom bits there. I can't see what I'm doing. Right, so it's lifted it a little bit. It's not as droopy. Yeah. And that looks so much better, doesn't it?
Mm.
Like out like that. It looks good. So I'm just going to flatten that and then make another copy. And let's just go into liquefy again and just have a little play. So we can, let's just go out a little bit so we can see what we're doing. And then we can just kind of have a bit of a, I don't like that corner bit there, so make that a bit more rounded. And what I do is I just be kind of painting really, like make some shapes. And I know it's stretched here, but it doesn't really bother me, but some of you might not like it stretched that much. And you can lift this a bit more. And as we've done a copy, we can always correct the canvas after. Yeah. So everyone's going to be trying to get that out of a boob. I think whoever gets rid of that should get a prize.
Sounds like a challenge, that, Sal. Which bit was that?
Get it out of a boob. Okay, so let's have a look. Yeah, so that's just filled it a little bit more. So it's just giving you a bit more fabric to play with, yeah? So that is, let's have a look. That is liquefy. Yeah. So let's just flatten that and save it. Mike could be telling me off for flattening things and saving it. So what I'm going to do is I've just saved this back into Lightroom, and I'm going to show you the finished image that we're going to try and aim for. I'm going to give you a few different backgrounds, but I'm not going to give you the backgrounds and stuff yet. You don't all have to do it, but if you want to do it, just let me know and I'll send you the stuff over. But we can just run through a bit at a time, just so you can get to grips with it. And it's not very often I can kind of break this down with everyone and show everybody how to do it a little bit at a time. But I think we'll do this liquefy bit first. So yeah, if you want it, let me know and I'll send you it over. And we'll do the cloning next time I'm up. And then we'll do some, perhaps we'll work on the on dodge and burn after that. And then we can work on overlaying some kind of background. So I'm going to show you what I've already saved it. So if I go to Lightroom, I'll have to share Lightroom, won't I? Hang on. Just bear with me a sec. Right, so what was that on, wasn't it? Right, okay, so you are sharing, new share. So I think it's Lightroom. Okay, so here we go. Right. Right, you can see that?
Yep.
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 So that's the image, view out, there we go. That's the image that we've been working on, yeah. This is going to be different because this is what I edited a few weeks ago, but this is like where we're going to try and get to, something like that.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So that's obviously, that started as that, in focus, and then we ended up with that, okay.